Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. I wanted to provide a footnote associated with the discussion with Vietnam. I was able to put the videos, both videos that I referenced in Short Funk, in the Short Funk Twitter feed. So go to Short Funk Cast on Twitter, and you'll see the two videos. The first one from Prager University. That was the name of the university. I'm sorry, the academic still skips my mind. It was a Prager University video that you'll find in the Short Funk feed. And I also went back and found the History Channel, History of Vietnam, in terms of the last few years, and the US leaving in honor, head held high, all that kind of stuff. And I think what's interesting here is Bob Mottram also took this, and I think he found these videos independently as well. So Bob Mottram obviously has far better searching skills than I do associated with these things. But the narrative that I mentioned in the podcast associated with Vietnam might seem outlandish to some, but thankfully I can point now to these videos and say, yes, these are the videos that I watched, this is what they said, and other people can build on that as a phenomena. Because I think certainly, clearly in the next 4 years in the US, we're going to have to start to create really strong, not in any way connected with political ideology or parties, analysis for dealing with what is going to be happening in the foreseeable future. My perspective on the US election was it was a choice between two dystopian apocalyptic scenarios, very much framed by both candidates associated with the way they wanted the apocalypse to go. And to be honest, I'm thankful that the nuclear option, well, at least in the short term, the nuclear option associated with playing chicken with Putin might be taken off the table. Who knows? The election still hasn't been called yet. Clinton could still be the president when I wake up in the morning. Who knows? But what I've seen here is something that needs strong analysis, particularly associated with militarism. And I hope that I can, through the very small listenership to Short Funk, start giving these narratives to people that they can start picking up on, start thinking about, and maybe we as a community can have a dialogue associated with this. If there's one thing that I'd like to see happen in the US, it is a deconstruction and analysis of militarism. And although things are currently fluid and in flux, I think it's important for intellectuals to have these kind of deconstruction modes in their arsenal as a means of addressing dominant narrative histories, which seem to be a hallmark of authoritarianism. And as we move into this new era of authoritarianism, as opposed to the far right, maybe there might be far right authoritarianism coming up. Trump is kind of mid-right authoritarian. We'll have to see. But I hope the podcast associated with how the US won the war in Vietnam got a few people thinking associated with this new change of narrative. There was a lot of, popular media discussion associated with what Trump meant to truths, like agreed upon truths and all this kind of stuff. I'm not even talking about agreed upon truths. What I'm talking about here is just a means of having a counter-narrative which can make coherent sense to some in the population that want to start having analytical tools in order to deconstruct what is occurring currently. And unfortunately, nothing in what I would call old or traditional media provides that for people. There's an irony that I noted through this election that people were starting to get critical of the comedians, like they'd given up on the journalists. They didn't care anymore. The journalists clearly weren't doing their job. So now people were becoming critical of comedians like John Oliver. Like, why is John Oliver so pro-Hillary in such a ridiculous way? It's the comedian's responsibility to be journalists now. We need better ways, folks. We need better means of analysis. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.